Hey, welcome in. Well, here's the headline. Canadian news host slammed for suggesting Russia behind massive freedom trucker protest. So that's right. A reporter from the CBC has decided that it must be Russia because everything is Russia. And this just gives you a hint on how influenced the Canadian corporate media is, especially the CBC, which is actually state media paid for by the taxpayers. It shows you how influenced it is by American media, by CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, and not any American conservative media. No, they don't like that. These are all nice Canadian lefties, and who don't really want to be journalists. They want to be activists, and they take their lead from left-wing American media. So it is just an unrelenting wave of left-wing propaganda. And we're seeing that with the Freedom Convoy, of course. Because these are dirty working class people protesting. They don't like that. These are people who don't like Trudeau. And they love Trudeau. Half of them think Trudeau's their boyfriend. And so this looks very much the way that MAGA people are covered by CNN or MSNBC in the States. And it's not by accident. So anyway, that's how we get to this. Canadian news host slammed for suggesting Russia is behind the massive freedom trucker protest. Straight out of the pages of the New York Times, right? But it's Canadian news. So let's see. CBC host Neil Coxell told the Minister of Public Safety that, quote, "I do ask that because given Canada's support of Ukraine in this current crisis with Russia, I don't know if it's far-fetched to ask, but there is concern that Russian actors could be continuing to fuel things as this protest grows, perhaps even instigating it from the outset." That's right. It was all Russia all along. Putin all along. Those truckers, they're all Russian agents. I mean, how did we not see this from the start? It's so obvious. Everybody loves Trudeau. Why would anybody protest against Trudeau? You have to understand, in these people's world, everybody does love Trudeau. Don't forget, Trudeau is the one who's signing the paychecks for them. Trudeau is the one who's showering them with money. Not just them, the rest of the Canadian corporate media as well. And he's not doing it to get insulted by them. And to suggest things like, oh, I don't know, maybe Russia's behind the opposition to Trudeau's policies. As ridiculous as that is. I mean, it is so absurd to try and transpose that from the United States onto Canada. It is beyond silly. But this is the world, this is the bubble that these people live in. This is the disconnect from reality that we're dealing with. And of course, in the meantime, there's absolutely nothing but slander coming from the mainstream press in Canada. Again, Trudeau's not showering all that money on them to not go to bat for them, right? In fact, let's go to the homepage for cbc.ca. Well, here's the first story. Protest convoy highlights the power of misinformation. Expert says. An expert. Oh, and guess what? He's a professor. He's a professor. Who could have guessed that? Could they have found a professor to say the exact opposite? Well, it would have been harder to. But they could have, but they don't do that. You see, because did I mention that Trudeau showers money on them? But anyway, how about this? Anti-vaccine mandate protesters have worn out their welcome, Ottawa mayor says. Ottawa mayor says ticketing, towing protesters could incite them. Uh-oh, because you've heard about how dangerous they are, right? With all of their, dancing and being festive and waving Canadian flags. But that has been the narrative from the beginning. This is dangerous. It's dangerous. Trudeau has to go into hiding. He has to be taken to a secure location. It's just been an unrelenting storm of that. I mean, Trudeau himself said the fringe minority in the truck convoy with their unacceptable views don't represent Canadians. Well, they do represent some Canadians, obviously, because they're Canadians. I guess if you don't agree with Trudeau, you're not Canadian anymore. Is that it? And I thought that Trudeau was supposed to be representing all Canadians. I thought that was his job, not to demonize them. And are they really so crazy? I mean, face mask and COVID passes end in England? Denmark scrapping all of its restrictions? Are they that crazy, really? Maybe they deserve to have a prime minister that will actually listen to them. Actually, you know what? Maybe it was England. Maybe England was behind this. Maybe it was Danish agents trying to stir up unrest in Canada amongst the truck. They've infiltrated the truckers. The Danish have infiltrated the truckers. Oh, no. Trucker convoy needs to lose extreme rhetoric. What extreme rhetoric? Do you know what they do the same thing as the U.S. press that they admire? They look for a case here or there, or amongst thousands of people, they want to find, a flag that they can take a picture of. Who's actually flying the flag? Well, they never find out. Was it somebody actually from the protest? Was it somebody who's trying to discredit the protest? We'll never know. They just found somebody, and now they got to smear everybody, thousands of people, with that. This gives you a good idea of where CBC's at. Some unvaccinated Canadian travelers are still able to board a plane. Wait, what? They can't stand it. They hate it. What? There's an unvaccinated person on a plane? Well, that's not fair. They love their special privilege status. They love the fact they were patted on the head and told they were good little boys and girls. And now they have privileges, the things they used to be able to do anyway that were just rights and freedoms, but are now privileges. They like that. And it makes Justin so happy, so happy. So happy, maybe one day he'll choose them. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you just like to listen, there's the podcast Radio Baloney. It's on pretty much every platform. If you look for it, you will find it. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.